Hi, I'm Angus Kress Gillespie, your host for Old Ways in New Jersey. I'm here today with Ottavio Angelico. He's the owner and winemaker for Angelico Winery. It's located in Delaware Township of Hunterdon County, just north of Lambertville. And it's my pleasure to welcome him to our studio today. Otto is originally from Sicily, and he comes from a multi-generational winemaking family. It's an interesting story of how I first came across this winery. My wife and I had long been in the habit of visiting Lambertville. Lambertville is a picturesque little village along the Delaware River with antique shops and its flea market. So one day I was walking along Bridge Street and I picked up a travel brochure from a box along the sidewalk. The brochure was promoting New Jersey wineries, and it said there were 51 of them in New Jersey. 51? I had no idea. I was amazed. Why not begin exploring them? Well, the nearest one was Angelico Winery. It was just 3.5 miles away. We went there right away, and I was very pleased with what I found. So Otto, tell me a little bit about growing up in Sicily and your experience in winemaking there.
Yes, so before I came here, I grew up, born and raised in Sicily for 26 years. My family, I'm the 5th generation of winemaking.
Wow.
Between a mix of commercial type and homemade wine. So yeah, my family has been always making wine. We have a beautiful winery in a little town. It's called Gran Michele. And in the province, belong to a province it's called Catania, by the famous volcano Etna. It's the east coast of Sicily. So yeah, grew up in the countryside with my family, a big family with uncles. Big family because also my grandparents used to have all neighbors coming during the vendemmia, which is when we harvest the grapes. And they used to have about 15 to 20 acres of grapes there. Classic Sicilian grapes, Ravola, Grillo, Malvasia, also some Sangiovese, and Solia. So we grew up around that. Yeah. And when you're little, actually, you just to play with it. But as soon as you grow up, your grandparents and parents, as a family tradition, they involve you on a little job, picking the grape, crushing the grapes. And that's where you start having a little bit engagement with the family. Sometimes you don't like it because you're kids, you want to play. Sometimes you like it. So I was always surrounded by grapes. At the age about 16, 17, when I was start going to college, actually university, to be in Sicily, it's university. Then when I needed some also funds to support my own, I would say not study because my parents were paying my study, but my own things beyond the study, food, going out with friends. So I started working for other vineyards actually, just by hours. Because in Sicily, there are vineyards that they own like 100 acres, so where they require a lot of work there. And then the passion of winemaking and picking grapes and pruning, they start getting more and more. So yes, so I would say I started touching the first wine and making wine. I was about 17 to 18. I remember when I turned 18, and my grandpa, as a gift, brought me a barrel. It was about 30-gallon barrel. Every kids, they would expect from their grandparents a motorbike, a car, or something. I got the barrel. And that was my first batch that I started making. Was close to the millennium, about 1996. It was about college time. So yeah, that was my first experience. But my family has been always involved with wine.
And then later on, what led you to relocate to the United States?
So I studied as a kid of a businessman, which my father has a shop in Sicily, and my family have an agricultural company there with orange, grapes, all kind of stuff. Me, as a new generation, I was studying engineering. So I went to school for mechanical engineer.
Oh.
And when I was I finished my bachelor, I wanted to do a master. I was searching for learning English. I figured out that English as a second language, it would have been helpful for my career. So I was supposed to go to England, but somehow a friend of one of my professors, which became friends, he offered me to go to Canada, Toronto. So I graduated with a master's degree in robotics. So I have a mechanical engineer with robotics specialization and a Ryerson University. So I did a couple of years there, graduated. I met my wife, and I never came back.
And so tell me a little bit about your early years at the Unionville Vineyard. That's also in Hunterdon County.
Yes. So the story is, I had to step back for 1 minute perhaps.
Sure.
The story started that when I came to Canada, alcohol, wine, it was completely, an area was unknown. And I started making my own wine at home.
Oh, okay.
So I was buying, at that time I was buying juice because it was even difficult to find grapes about 25, 26 years ago. Source, very little resource. So I bought juice, I make wine, and then I get relocated with my business job. I get relocated first in the Finger Lakes, Plattsburgh, and then finally in New Jersey. During this change and moving with my family, start growing up kids, I find out that really I couldn't find wines that I used to drink every day, and it's quite expensive at the store. Italy, if you look at price of just a table wine or just a regular wine, you can buy like, I don't know, €5-6 a bottle, and then here it's a little more expensive. So I started making my own again, but this time, being in the Finger Lakes, I was able to source grapes. So from there, I kept moving until I got to New Jersey, relocated, working for a company called L'Oreal as an engineer in packaging. And then my wife and I, when I came to L'Oreal, working for a corporation, we just realized that the wine industry in New Jersey was completely far away, comparing Europe and comparing also other areas of the United States. I was coming from the Finger Lake, I was coming from Italy. So I just realized, I told my wife, how about we start making our own wine commercial instead, just home. And she challenged me back, saying, this is just one of your dream. We have kids, the kids are little, it's expensive. Why don't you just work for a winery? And that's when the Unionville came up. I interviewed with different company in New Jersey. I partnered on some special festival with William Heritage, Benelucci. But eventually I interviewed with John Cefelli, which is the general manager of Unionville, and he liked a lot the idea that I was going to open a winery. So instead of saying, oh, this is going to be a competitor, actually he embraced the idea that opening wine is better. And he told me, you open a wine, you open a Hunterdon close to me. So we create a cluster of winery. And today, by the way, Hunterdon has 8 wineries.
Yeah, I've been a frequent visitor to Unionville.
Yeah.
I've interviewed John. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah,
Nice guy. Yeah.
So later on, you actually did some academic work on winemaking at Rutgers, right?
So yes, continuous improvement, right? So my company, as explained before, is based. Angelico Winery is based on 3 core factors. The first core, it's our guests, the people that come to visit us. The core number 2 is the quality of the product, starting from the fruit to go to the wine. So because of that core value that we have, I realized that having a background in winemaking, coming from Sicily, it was not enough, especially that my specialization is an engineer. So both my son, the Finger Lake, studying right now for winemaking, and myself and the Texas University, we're studying as a part-time. I got different degrees so far. I got a degree in winemaking. I got a degree certification of winery design, and also I got a degree for specialized, I would not say sommelier, but connoisseur. So still the beginning, but at least I know what to look on a wine.
So Angelico Winery is relatively new. Tell us about the grand opening in August 2022.
Yes, so my journey started with we mentioned John Cefali. Actually started in the Finger Lakes.
Yeah.
That's the idea where he planted, which we were opening winery somewhere in North Country, and then he landed here in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Right. So it took us at least 10 years to get to the grand opening, between the school education, working for other winery like we mentioned Unionville, just to know what really it takes. Is it just a passion that might become a nightmare, or is it a passion that become a dream?
Yeah.
And so that's why I work for them. So July 2022, finally, we got our license after years, after we planted the vineyard, after we start making wine, after we sourced all the suppliers and equipment to make wine. Finally, after I was 4 years in the property where I live, and finally we got the license. It's a lot of time invested, and also a lot of resources invested.
So how many acres do you have in all?
So we purchased overall this beautiful farm in the hillside of Lambertville countryside. Lambertville town is by the river, but we are about 600 foot above the level of the river. And the countryside is about 10 acres overall. It's all fenced up with deer fence, so there's no deer, and it's all hill. So, which is great, a good drainage. So as today we have planted circa 4 acres.
4 acres.
Yeah, but we still have 6 acres left, which we can put building. Parking lot is another thing that it's important to consider, especially for hospitality. And around us, we have so much land.
Yeah.
Then my wife and I, it was my wife, she said, don't go crazy, because I want to buy 100 acres. And she said, you're going to put us in trouble. Just start with one small plot of land.
Yeah.
And then as the business grow, hospitality, building, winemaking, then you can expand by another 10 acres. And that's actually the Unionville model. Unionville
Yes,
model is like
I'm
that.
familiar with it, yes.
Yeah. Different terrain, different soil.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do as well.
So how many grape varieties are you currently growing?
So we have about 6 major, and I know 4 acres for 6 varietals. This sounds too many. We want to stop at 4, but as we experimenting some grapes that I'm not familiar. I start with a lot of grapes that are Italian, but for me it's more experimental time too, because where I grew up in Sicily, the climate is very arid, dry, and hot. It's just very similar to California, so it's easier to grow certain type of grapes. Here we have some challenges because of the weather, and when I say the weather, it's talk about humidity, so I had to partner with other winery and find out what Italian grapes I can grow that grow well in my land.
We talked before, you have good drainage. What's the soil type?
So most is a loam clay. We have a lot of shells. So my vineyard actually I have 2 sides. The first 3 acres in the front of the house, it would be more loam clay. And I have planted a certain type of wine, and it's very good usually for whites. In the back, it's very shell and rocks, the small rocks, stony, which actually is more ideal for drainage. And I have planted some of the reds. Yeah. So I will experimenting during this year.
So far, have you been able to grow enough grapes to produce the wine, or do you have to buy some of your grapes from outside?
So yeah, when you start a winery, you definitely need to purchase from our sources, because a vineyard to establish it takes 3 to 5 years.
Of course.
So our vineyard at the time we opened, we started planting in 2019 and 20. We opened in 2022, but you have to also make the wine. So we had a few harvests of our own, but some I had to source from local winery.
Yeah.
And I rely a lot on some winery in South Jersey, which they have wonderful grapes.
Yes.
and some winemakers starting from Unionville to Bellevue, they were there to support us because they understand that new winery needs support. But definitely we want to start from fruit, fresh fruit and healthy fruit.
Roughly speaking, how many cases of wine did you produce back in 2022?
So we start about between 700 to 800 cases.
Wow.
Today we have a double production. We have about 1,500 cases. And probably our model right now, our space, it won't go more than 2,000 cases a year. Because wines need time, aging, but also we need the capacity of the facility. With our facility recently this year, 2025, and a little bit 2024, we were able to stretch a branch of the building. So we had an addition about 1,000 square foot. So which was great to start making more wine and be independent from the hospitality. So production is not being interrupted during the hospitality, because I've been using the hospitality room during the week in the evening with my kids to make bottled wine. We've been using the crash pad outside during the summertime, but now we have an independent building.
And I know you have your whole family involved. Just quickly speaking, what does your wife Lily do? What does Julio do? And what does Antonio do?
Okay. So the four of us has different roles, right?
Yeah.
So Lily is the one that keep it all online. She deals most with hospitality. Hospitality, like I mentioned before, we have three business. Everyone around usually three business, especially in New Jersey, which is mandatory. I'll tell you what means mandatory. In New Jersey, you are required to plant 3 acres of land by law.
That's
to
the
have
law.
a farm license.
Yeah.
So we have a farm license. Therefore, we have at least 3 acres planted, which is that usually part is taken care of. Only 2 people, usually myself and my son Antonio. So we used to call him a vineyard manager. Now he's in college, the kid. So when he comes, he helps us during the summer. But when right now he's pruning vines for other wineries in Finger Lakes.
Of course.
And I do the vineyard. There's much more behind. There's machine, there's maintenance. This is a full business. The other aspect of this business is the winemaking. So I'm the so-called senior winemaker. I consult a lot with other winemakers when I need to learn stuff. One of the consulting also is my professor at the Texas University, where she took classes. She helped me a lot how to fix things or how to prevent things. And so the junior winemaker is Antonio. Antonio, in short, it does everything. Antonio is the most spread person that we have. Julio is our precise kid. He's only 15 years old. He's dedicated mowing the vineyard, mowing the winery. He labels, he bottles. He's not into winemaking yet, but he's more like assistant during the harvest. Yeah. And during the moment that we back up in the tasting room, he comes to help us to dry the glasses. Yeah. But now he cannot touch wine anyway. Lily, finally, she takes the all hospitality aspect, which is the biggest one.
Which I've experienced. Yeah. She's good at it. Yeah.
She's our first full-time employee that Angelico Winery has hired. As today, we have 6 employees, all on payroll, and Lily is the full-time person. And the other 5 that we have wonderful ladies that help us in every aspect of the business. And now we have expanded their knowledge, and they do all the rest of the job. Now, but Lily doesn't do. When we talk hospitality, she works with a lady with social media. She works also advertisement. She works also some marketing, and she manage all the customer. We call them guests, by the way, aspect, responding and talking to them. She has the big piece of the pie, I would say.
So let's talk about some of my favorite wines at your place. We can start with the Riesling.
So this is a estate-grown Riesling. This is actually last year Riesling 2024 harvest. Riesling grows well on our land. It's just, usually it's called it's a a kind of cold hardy, they call grapes. So it adapts everywhere. And we love this wine just because it's fruit our own land, and when it comes, the bouquet and all the aromas and the flavor, they are so subtle and aggressive at the same time. I could talk hours about our wines. I make them all, so for me they're like babies. So it is a wonderful grape. They grow very well. A lot of wineries grow Riesling. Most, I would say, between North Jersey and Central Jersey, that they grow this type of grape.
And tell us a little bit about the Chardonnay.
Yeah, again, another estate grown. This was last year vintage, 2024. The Chardonnay, they call it, it's a grape that tend to adapt any kind of environment, warm, cold. Our Chardonnay, definitely, it's because we're in the East Coast, it's colder than the West Coast. It's very lightly oak, but it has a, I would say it's complete. This is much more complete. It goes through a barrel fermentation for a few months. So it goes through all the two kind of fermentation we call the malolactic fermentation, the primary fermentation. It's a full mouth. It has its own alcohol. Which is interesting, I will show you, is labels design. I forgot Antonio. Remember I said he does most of the things. Antonio, for example, he likes to draw as an artist, my son. So this is, a lot of people say my Christmas tree. It's just a leaning tree that we have at the winery. And he thinks it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So he say, hey, Dad, should I make it? And he has all reason to put it off center, to catch the attention of the people. He has studied the logo, the Angelico winery, writing specific characters. Like I said, to make, a lot of people come in the tasting room and they try the wine, but behind the scene of the wine, there's, like you said, the tip of iceberg is the glass of wine, but below there's a huge iceberg, which is how the business run.
So let's move on. I'm no expert, but this is my favorite, the Miracle Barbera.
So this, I don't want to get too much credit, but was an idea to represent more my identity. So there's an extracted picture of Michelangelo, which is the two cherubs. They're watching the Virgin Mary. This is just a cut off of the entire picture, which is kept in the Sistine Chapel in Rome. And we call it a miracle because we made the joke that, when the Bible is mentioned that Jesus Christ, the first miracle, he turned water into wine. And we make this thing is, we Angelico, we make water into wine. And that logo came up as Angelico wine, and that's our mascot of the company, the two cherubs.
Oh, yeah.
The wine itself, I dedicate all the time. This is a 12-month on oak barrel. The barrel is usually we start with new barrel, but this barrel was in this vintage. It was 2023. It was used a few times, so it still has its own property. So you go through micro-oxygenation. You go to 12-month oak, so you get oakiness, and also it's a medium body. And the grapes is Barbera, which is a grape that we do grow in our land, and it's a really characteristic of Italian wine.
And last, let's talk about this one.
So Sangiovese, we're gonna bottle in the next few weeks. I just brought the bottle. So the picture, in this case, I just want to talk about the label 2 seconds. That's my parents' winery in Sicily. I took a picture a few years ago. So Sangiovese is a classic backbone of Italian grapes. For all you Italian makers, it grows well everywhere. In New Jersey, it grows well. We gotta make sure that we had a good season. For example, a dry season last year, for example, 2024, amazing. We had an amazing season. All winemakers can tell you it was dry, it was hot. So we had an excellent harvest for Sangiovese. I'm pretty sure the other one, they did it as well. Sangiovese originally, everybody can locate with Tuscany, grows well also in the south part of Italy, and guess what? It grows a lot, very well in New Jersey. It's usually develop a wine that is medium to full body, depending on the season, and it's well known. Everybody knows like Chianti, for example, or Brunello di Montalcino. Those are same grapes, Sangiovese, but different clone, they call it. And we cannot call it Chianti because we are not in the Chianti region. Actually, we can call it Lambertville if we want to, or Delaware Valley. That's what we are by the Delaware River.
So Otto, tell me, what is one of the most rewarding things about your job?
Could say a lot of things. It's come all from passion, right? So the moment you have you follow up the vines, it grows, the way it grows, the when it sprout and you start making the grapes, and then you have to tender the vine and you have to prune it. You spend a lot of dedication, whether you like or not, the part. And then in September, the vendemmia, which is, it creates a lot of joy and a lot of people ask me, can we come and pick the grape? It's a moment that you gather.
It's a community involvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also it's memories, because those are all the best memory I had. One of the best memory I had in Italy, because I could see neighbors, like I said before, I could see my grandparents, both sides, my parents, my uncles, my brother, my family, little kids running. This is a huge armory during the vendemmia, so-called harvest.
Everybody's involved.
Everybody's involved. Everybody is having some wine from the previous year. Everybody's cooking big pasta, and when it comes to realization, the fermentation, and the taste of the wine, it's something that you produce and you feel proud of it. It's like cooking something and then share it with somebody with joy and see their laugh, because wine, no matter what, it will bring you laugh and happiness due to many reasons, including the alcohol, and that's make you fulfill. So that's just a dream for me.
And following up, how do you see the future of wine production in New Jersey?
In New Jersey? Oh, it's growing. It's growing. It's steady growing. We know that we had wines as some setback in the last few years because of introduction of new activities for a new generation. However, United States still is an exploratory mode for wine. And you can see culture like France, Italy, they are all the way to the pinnacle point, but the United States is still like a baby for many aspects. The winemaking is one of that aspect. The East Coast, all the way to New Jersey, is still a baby too. New Jersey today can say there has about 60 wineries, but comparing to other countries where they grow into wineries, 60 is no, it's just like you said before, the tip of the iceberg. 60 could be just a good beginning. I would say in the next 10 years, New Jersey probably will double this number.
Wow.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Well, Otto, I want to thank you for coming here to East Brunswick Television. It's been a pleasure learning more about Angelico Winery.
Yeah, appreciate your time, and thank you for having me here today.